Unbelievable news out of, you guessed it, the AFC West again today, as the Raiders are trading for arguably the best receiver in the NFL, Davante Adams. I thought once Aaron Rodgers was back in Green Bay for the foreseeable future, there was no way Davante Adams wasn't going to end up signing some type of an extension to stay in Green Bay as such a vital piece of that team. But not only are the Packers not going to help out Aaron Rodgers through free agency or the draft with receivers all these years, they're not going to keep maybe the best one in the NFL, certainly the best one on their team, as he's reuniting with his college quarterback, Derek Carr. Now, it's a little bit more removed than Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase from a year ago, because they were in college, 2 years ago, winning that national championship. But they had very, very good numbers together. It was the air raid offense. Derek Carr in 2012 and 2013, when Davante Adams was playing, had his best years, and that made him a second-round pick. And the same can be said about Davante Adams, who put up over 1,700 yards and 24 touchdowns in his final year at Fresno State on 131 catches. Astronomical numbers in just 2 seasons of starting. Over 3,000 yards and 38 touchdowns in just 16 total games. Are you kidding me? That's college for you. That's the air raid. That's the Mountain West. But wow, this is a really, really fun combo. Rumored to be great friends, and to see this storyline of them, meeting back together is awesome. Derek Carr has been a middling quarterback for a while now. It's always been more like volume, but not like great production in terms of like what an Aaron Rodgers does last season, and why he won the MVP over Tom Brady was better on like a per snap, per throw basis. That's not Derek Carr's game. But we also have to think that Derek Carr has not had a receiver anywhere close to the caliber of Davante Adams. Not the Antonio Brown preseason saga, not Bryan Edwards or Hunter Renfrow, not any of those guys. Now Davante Adams joins the Raiders. Wow. This is an incredible deal. Now, the exact details of the trade are currently unknown. We do know that a first-round pick and another pick is headed to Green Bay. So Green Bay will have 2 first-rounders this year, and maybe more. We know that another player could be involved. I have speculated that it might be Bryan Edwards, just to play like an Allen Lazard type role. Not exactly the same thing, but the big-bodied receiver, and they got to have somebody out there. Their receiving core is now like essentially Amari Rodgers, and that's kind of it. So it's not great. And they're certainly, you'd have to think, going to draft a receiver in the first round. They haven't wanted to draft a receiver very high. They haven't wanted to sign anyone particularly good. And now they don't even want to keep their best receiver in the league, maybe. Certainly the best receiver on the team in Davante Adams. This is just such a crazy trade for the Raiders and the Packers. I mean, it's insanity. The Raiders are trying to be competitive in the AFC West. I absolutely love it for them. You're not going to really care about that first round pick when you have arguably the best receiver catching passes for Derek Carr now. You're not worried about that whatsoever. We also know Davante Adams, highest paid receiver in the league now. Immediately signs an extension, 5 years, and the money, I saw it. Where's the money here? I want to say it was like 151 million. I'm going to confirm this clearly. And Rap Sheet, Ian Rappaport, has speculated that a player would be involved, but we don't quite know what that is yet. So the details are being finalized, contract extension being worked out, but it seems like this will be getting done. So a first round pick this year, but more picks as well. And we don't know exactly what that is. And Davante Adams just bought a house in Las Vegas next to Derek Carr. The shock of the century that he's being traded. 141 million over 5 years, nearly 30 million per year. But you'd have to say that he is worth it. You just don't get a player of his caliber very often. And yeah, he was teamed up with the best quarterback in the league, arguably, in Aaron Rodgers, but the production speaks for itself. He's one of the best route runners in the league. And you don't even have to look at yards or touchdowns. And he's at the top of the league in both. Look at yards per game. Look at this 4-year stretch where he kind of broke out and officially broke out. 92, 83, injury that season. 98 led the league, and 97. So that's a 4-year stretch of averaging over 90 yards per game and 47 touchdowns over that 57-game stretch, not including the playoffs, where in 2 games in 2019, he averaged nearly 150 yards per game, had 2 touchdowns. 2020, 2 touchdowns, 66 yards per game is still good. And then 90 yards per game in just the 1 game this past season. Davante Adams, whether you check the film or check the stats, is right at the top for best receiver in the league. All-pro first-team receiver. He is an incredible, incredible talent. And does this elevate the Raiders to the next level? It's close. It's close, right? Because you don't care about losing the first-round pick at all. Why would you? Why would you? Now, it does depend on what else you gave up, but I don't see any way that we could walk out of this trade and say the Raiders are not winners in this deal. Now, are the Packers losers? Yes and no. Yes, because they're losing the best receiver in the league, maybe. But if we do factor in some other things, Davante Adams is going into his age 30 season. They didn't want to extend him through his 30s, even though we've seen some of these top-tier receivers, especially the ones who don't rely on athleticism, the way Davante Adams is a polished route runner who's physical, incredible hands. He's not, one of these freak athletes despite being a good athlete. Didn't test particularly well coming out of Fresno State. So if there's any receiver in the league that you would expect to remain good into their 30s, it's Davante Adams. We saw Julio broke down a little bit over these past couple years. We saw that happen, but it's not the same. They're different players. Julio was the freak athlete who was still good technically, but the wheels are falling off the wagon a little bit there. With Davante Adams, I don't think you would expect that to happen. He has been, dinged up here or there, but injuries have never really been a significant problem for him. He's stayed healthy over the course of his career. He's going into his 30s, yes, but the way he plays the game, I don't see any reason that he would slow down. And yeah, the built-in chemistry that he and Aaron Rodgers had was incredible. But you'd have to think that there's at least some of that there with Derek Carr as well. They might be best friends. We've heard that. We know they have the history in college, and we know what Davante Adams is capable of doing in the NFL, and we know the volume that Derek Carr is capable of. Over 620 attempts in 2021. They're throwing the ball as much as anybody, and now they have good reason to. Hunter Renfrow in the slot. For right now, we're going to say that Bryan Edwards is still there. That's your big-bodied receiver. That's your red zone guy. But getting Davante Adams, man, I mean, it really does take this team up. Chandler Jones, it's like, where are they getting this money from? Doesn't matter. They're making it work. They're making it happen. And if I'm the Las Vegas Raiders and you have a little bit of wiggle room, yes, offensive line's a problem. I'm at least trying to bring in La'el Collins for a visit, but I'm looking at Tyrann Mathieu to shore up the back end of that secondary. If you can get some type of deal worked out to bring him in, your defense is starting to look more solidified. You're not worried about picks, and you can address offensive line in the mid rounds because you're still going to have some of those. So this is a massive trade. We're all aware of that, and this is earth-shattering for the AFC West, which is already shaping up to be the best division in football. Do the Packers bring in Julio Jones? I think that's a possibility. Some of these other receivers still available. The Packers have to sign somebody, and they certainly have to draft somebody, because if you look at the depth chart right now, outside of Davante Adams, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Amari Rodgers, Juwan Winfrey are really the only notable guys in there. And Cobb past his prime. Lazard, good blocker, big body, doesn't really offer much beyond that. You might lose Marquez Valdes-Scantling. In fact, you probably will. It's not looking good for Green Bay right now, and this is their window to win a Super Bowl. Getting rid of Davante Adams certainly does not help that at all. It's a hindrance, but let me know what you think about this down in the comment section below. This is incredible. This is amazing, and it is going to be a bloodbath in the AFC West and the AFC as a whole. Let me know what you think Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Use code Bengal on SeatGeek. Save yourself $20 when you buy tickets for anything. And I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.